sons of Adam, chosen by the Most High God. We started as kings, priests, became slaves, 1619. We started as Hebrews and they renamed us Negroes. Now the roar of the lion has awakened his people.
Blessings, family. We are here again. We are here to uncover all the lies. We are here to remove all the veils from our eyes. And also, we are here to get to the truth. For Christ said, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." So, this world that we have been living in was a world that was built up on deceit and lies. This world that we have been living in was here to put us in sin. And to get to the root of that sin, we have to start from the beginning. We have to start from Adam and Eve. For the devil did use his subtlety to deceive Eve in eating that apple. And from there, a domino effect. And from then on till now, we have been going down a downhill spiral. And that spiral equals to a malignant root. A malignant root is like a disease, and it also is stemmed within the body, and also it's engrafted itself into the spirit. For this world has been given over to the hands of the wicked. For this malignant root has been that silent killer, an enemy that we can't see. And this enemy has been there so that we can always be doing the things that is not of the Most High. But now, family, it's high time to wake out of sleep, and it's time to get back to our Heavenly Father. So you might say, how we do this? Well, one of the ways that we should get to the bottom of this evil is to find out that we are in a war that is a spiritual war that we have been born into. a war that we can't see physically with the eyes, but at times we can feel this oppression.
This is the construct. It's our loading program. We can load anything from clothing to equipment, weapons, training simulations, anything we need.
Right now, we're inside a computer program.
Is it really so hard to believe? Your clothes are different, the plugs in your arms and head are gone. Your hair has changed. Your appearance now is what we call residual self-image. It is the mental projection of your digital self.
This isn't real.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. This is the world that you know. The world as it was at the end of the 20th century. It exists now only as part of a neural interactive simulation that we call the Matrix. You've been living in a dream world, Neo. This is the world as it exists today.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
We have only bits and pieces of information, but what we know for certain is that at some point in the early 21st century, all of mankind was united in celebration. We marveled at our own magnificence as we gave birth to AI.
AI. You mean artificial intelligence?
A singular consciousness that spawned an entire race of machines. We don't know who struck first, us or them, but we know that it was us that scorched the sky. At the time, they were dependent on solar power, and it was believed that they would be unable to survive without an energy source as abundant as the sun. Throughout human history, we have been dependent on machines to survive. Fate, it seems, is not without a sense of irony. What is the Matrix? Control. The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control in order to change a human being.
So yes, family, we have been deceived. We have been living in a make-believe world. All that we thought was true is actually a lie. But nevertheless, the Most High is our guide and our shield. And Christ, through him, we shall be victorious. Now, let's go to Scripture. For there's a scripture that actually tells us about this malignant root. 2 Esdras 3:21 and 22. And with this, we will get back to the truth. For if we are truly embraced in the Most High, then he shall open our eyes to find the truth where it lies, and to separate ourselves from this delusion that most of us are living in. And if we can get back to reality, and accept what is true, then my family, this disease, this malignant root, we can eventually cut it out. 2 Esdras 3 and 21 to 22. For the first Adam bare a wicked heart transgressed, and was overcome, and so be all they that are born of him. Thus infirmity was made permanent, and the law also in the hearts of people with malignity of the root, so that the good departed away, and the evil abode still. So now, family, that we have realized what is right at the stem, at the root, which is evil. So, being knowing that we were born into a sinful nature. Now, a lot of people might not agree, but as we just read in Esdras, it clearly shows that because of Adam eating that apple, that fruit, and did not take the time out to go and find out from the Most High, which he did command him already not to eat, took it. And because of that, there was planted inside of him a malignant root of evil. Now, seeing as how we know that there's a seed that has been planted, doesn't mean that we can't unroot the seed out of the ground, which is in us, by using the Father's teachings, his words, and his commandments. And by doing so, we actually get a chance to cleanse ourselves from this malignant root. For we are fighting a spiritual battle. Because if you think about it, some of the times when you are doing things for the kingdom of the Most High, you find that you always come up against oppositions, whether it be in the form of a physical person or in the format of a spiritual entity. You find that there always will be roadblocks because you are unearthing the things which the devil has planted. Just as what he did with the wheat and the tare, and the Most High said, let it go ahead and grow together. For in due time, they will reap the tare outside, and the wheat they will put in the barn, and the tare they will throw into the fire. Now, family, we have to analyze and see what is in front of us. We have to see that there is a wicked sower planting seeds within the Most High's garden to choke out this word from among us, so that we cannot recognize his crafty counsel. For remember, when the devil was thrown out, Then after, you had the Watchers. And they were mesmerized by the daughters of Cain. And because of that, they fell from their estate. But with that came more evil into the world. And we are going to touch on that. But let us actually now take a look at this.
I killed someone. He got me to kill an innocent man.
I know.
What do they want, Greta? Just tell me what they want.
The demons? They want the fall of civilization, the fall of Babylon, as they put it.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Well, they're doing a good job, aren't they? You know, after I shot the teacher, Azazel moved to someone else.
Are you sure? After death?
Positive. After death, yeah, I saw it. Oh, yeah, listen to this. I was looking through one of your father's books, and it says, outside. I guess that means outside the body. Outside, they can survive for one breath only.
There's a Hebrew text that says the breath can carry them for 500 cubits. I never knew what it meant.
A cubit, that's like a distance or something, right?
Yeah, from your elbow to your fingertips. So 500 cubits would be, what, about 1/6 of a mile.
Yeah, well, you're right then. I guess they are limited in certain ways.
What are you thinking?
I don't know.
The General Epistle of Jude.
These are spots in your feasts of charity, when they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear. Clouds they are without water, carried about of winds. Trees whose fruit withereth, without fruit, twice dead, plucked up by the roots. Raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame. Wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him.
This is really fascinating stuff. What you're looking at right now is a paralyzed man using his mind in order to create the words that appear on the screen. This revolutionary speech neuroprosthesis research at the University of California, San Francisco is allowing the gentleman to communicate in complete sentences by translating signals from his brain to the vocal tract and directly onto text on the screen. It's one of several massive leaps in brain science technology that is literally creating a future of potentially infinite possibilities and also concerns about how this technology could be used or misused. Our Kaylee Hartung files this in-depth report on one of the leading creators in this field who at one point became so concerned with its power, he gave up his patent to a university.
It was the viral video moment seen around the world. In April, a monkey playing a game of Pong using only its mind with the help of what's called a Neuralink. The device is Elon Musk's latest venture into a fast-evolving tech space. Tiny chips that get implanted in the brain. Sounds like something out of The Matrix, but this is not a movie.
Welcome to the real world.
Brain chips are part of a revolutionary field that's been around longer than you think.
Is this science fiction? Or is this reality?
It is absolutely science fiction that has turned into real science. What Elon Musk did with these monkey trials showing how monkeys with brain chips could control computers with nothing but their minds, the first version of this happened in the 60s.
Jeff Steibel is an entrepreneur, investor, and brain scientist. He's the former owner of BrainGate, a pioneering brain chip company.
Explain in the simplest terms to me what that technology is.
When you think of these brain chips, it's actually pretty simple. All we're doing is tapping into that electrical current, reading the language of the mind, sending it to a computer, and the computer interprets that language, converts it, and you can do all kinds of things with it. Really that simple.
The chip, more formally known as brain-computer interface, or BCI, is the size of a baby aspirin, connected to a larger device called a pedestal that gets surgically attached to the motor cortex. The goal is to profoundly improve the lives of people suffering from paralysis, brain injuries, or other spinal cord injuries by turning their thoughts into actions. The first FDA-approved clinical trial of BrainGate's neural interface system was launched back in 2004.
Imagine if you were an individual who could never speak to someone, and for the first time you could type "I love you" to one of your loved ones. Imagine if you couldn't walk, but you could all of a sudden use a wheelchair with nothing but your mind. Imagine if you couldn't use your arms, but for the first time, using your mind, you could control a prosthetic to then eat something. Again, for the first time, it's those aha moments that surprise even me to this day.
Experts believe BCI also has the potential to transform the way humans and computers work alongside each other forever.
Companies will have access to brain data, and this is going to fuel a very lucrative new data market. Moreover, companies will be able to sell another type of device on top of smartphones, laptops, and so on.
Several companies have already moved forward with less invasive wearable versions of BCI technology, aimed at everything from improving focus to controlling prosthetic limbs, even controlling gadgets with the mind. In April, the FDA gave its first ever market authorization for wearable BCI, approving a device that helps stroke patients regain mobility in their arms. French company Nextmind marketing a wearable headband, allowing this man to change the channel through sheer will alone. It currently retails for $399. Experts predict that BCI has the potential to be a $3.85 billion industry by 2027, according to Allied Market Research. But with great promise comes great concerns.
You're going to have to share your brain data with private companies. Are you willing to share your brain data only to have a better interaction with your nearby devices? This is the question.
What are the other ways it could be used that causes pause?
The peril of this technology, the risk of this technology is if we push too hard, too fast, you can use it for virtually anything. When we go beyond trying to help people who are struggling, paraplegics, quadriplegics, locked-in patients, people who can't speak, to improving people who are normally functioning, giving you a brain chip as an example, it's almost downright frightening.
In 2020, Steibel decided to donate BrainGate to Tufts University to determine how best it should be used. The university says it's in the early stages of evaluating the technology.
Explain to me the thought process in your mind for handing this over.
We always knew that this served a greater humanitarian purpose. We always said that we wanted to do the right thing here, despite the fact that I have a background in it, to know that it was dangerous, to know that it was dangerous, to know that it was dangerous, to know just.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
So as we can see, we have been born into a world which is a prison. One that we can't touch, we can't taste, and one that we can't even really see. But we know that it's there. And if you're willing to accept the truth, which will set us free, then the Most High, through Christ, will deliver us. So, with that said, seeing that we are fighting a war and enemies that we can't truly see with our physical eyes, you could say some, but for the most part, you can't see all of them. But in order to break free from this so-called matrix, we have to get back to the root in order to find our way home. So, let's go to scriptures.
Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand.
Being a crackhead wasn't cool. Now it seems like they're making it cool to be drinking lean and syrup. And
it's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
It's opportunistic.
Yeah.
I got people to feed. I got a business to run.
You're gonna make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
Before I come in, let's listen to Kanye speak about the same issue.
If you go to Apple right now, go to Apple Music, let's load up the top 10 songs. I guarantee you they're promoting black serial killing. Absolutely. Not just one. They're promoting black. The red media is making money off of blacks being serial killers to each other. Also misogynistic. The red media is making money off of that.
Those who despise Mr. West or supported his cancellation, what wrong did he do or say that isn't true? Are you certain he is the right person to be cancelled? It hurts me that my people can't open their eyes to see the truth, or maybe we are just ignorant. This man couldn't even deny anything. In fact, he seemed proud saying what he said, admitting that he promotes such evil, dirty and corrupt music because that's how he feeds his family. They don't care about us, my people, they don't. We are fighting against agents of devils, cold and dark souls. The worst thing is these culture vultures are everywhere promoting evil, especially in black communities, and yet a black fella has the audacity to shame Kanye for standing up for the black community. These elites will continue to take advantage of us unless we become united and do something about it.
Here's the truth. The truth is this, a bunch of young black male rappers keep dying. You know who's not dying? Record executives. The record executives that push for them to continue to make songs and create a culture that is obsessed with death, drugs, and sex. Period. The industry's obsessed with it, but those record executives, they're not dying because they don't push this culture on their own people. But they're encouraging you to push it on yours, and they're paying you handsomely to do it.
Kanye and this former music executive are fully aware of what goes on behind closed doors in this sick industry. But even though we don't know what happens in the dark, we know and have seen the results of the deals done in the dark by these weak and money-loving artists. These artists are brainwashed and only care about money and nothing else. These elites don't want a functioning society, so they are trying by all means to destroy it, and the best and quickest way to do it is through the music and movies we love. We must be extremely cautious about what we consume, especially children. Kids are more vulnerable because they can't make solid decisions for themselves. Keep children away from this useless and destructive music and movies. These people are only here to destroy, steal, and kill. That's why we need to be awake, ladies and gentlemen.
I've had a few friends that are now 6 feet under because of the issue.
The DEA calls it the deadliest drug threat our country has ever faced. Boston 25 News reporter Drew Caritas first told us about Trank last fall. And Drew, several of the people you spoke with tonight had friends die due to this Narcan-resistant drug.
Mark, the latest data from a state-funded collaborative tracking program shows that about a third of New England's illegal street drug supply is laced with xylazine, also known as Trank and the zombie drug. As you just mentioned, those we talked with tonight believe recent overdoses involving people they know are linked to this animal tranquilizer.
You might think you're getting heroin, but next thing you know, you drop down, you die. It's a tranquilizer.
The new warning from federal authorities about an emerging public safety threat, fentanyl and other drugs mixed with the animal tranquilizer xylazine, is not a surprise to those who have dealt with recent overdose losses in the Boston area.
I know quite a few people that most likely passed away due to this new stuff.
Will Rivas tells us he just had 2 friends die last week and suspects the anesthetic approved for veterinary use with large animals is to blame.
It's just going to get worse. More people are going to die. You're going to have more people migrate over here because they're going to hear that people are dropping. Like I said, people want to get high when they hear people are dropping because they realize they think the effect is 10 times greater, which in reality it's not. It's just killing you.
Public health experts believe people are taking xylazine both unknowingly and intentionally because some people report that it lengthens the euphoric effects of fentanyl. Narcan, a crucial tool in saving lives in the opioid epidemic, is not effective with xylazine because it's not an opioid.
It's put my life in danger. Like when I woke up, it was like a shock, like a sense of something I can't explain.
I've had a few friends that are now 6 feet under because of the issue.
This woman, who says she recently got off the streets, found a job, and is trying to stay clean, tells us she's worried that the escalating danger isn't sinking in with those at greatest risk.
It's scary to just even think about it. I'm about to cry. If I poison somebody with rat poisoning, I go to jail for murder. So if you're going to poison somebody with xylazine, you should be buried under the jail.
Repeated xylazine use is associated with skin ulcers and severe wounds, including the rotting of human tissue that can lead to amputation. Just last month, the FDA said it took action to prevent xylazine from entering the U.S. market for illicit purposes. We're live in Boston. Drew Caritas for your local station, Boston 25 News.
What's in your medicine cabinet? How many daily meds and supplements are you using? Do you know what you're putting into your bodies? It has been 2 years since COVID vaccines were first introduced, yet we continue to gain new insights into their impact on our bodies, especially on women's reproductive health. Now, over the past 2 years, there's no denying that these vaccines have prevented millions of hospitalizations and deaths. So before I proceed, let me be clear. Vaccines are the best protection against several life-threatening diseases, but do we know enough about them? New studies have also highlighted the hidden risks of COVID vaccines, specifically for women's health, ranging from irregular menstrual cycles to miscarriages and even reduced milk supply in breastfeeding mothers. It begs the question, what potentially harmful elements are we injecting into our bodies? Are we unknowingly endangering our health in the pursuit of immunity? We know that COVID-19 vaccines have different effects on women when compared to men. So we must consider whether the pharma industry is giving sufficient and equal thought to the impact of their products on women's health. The question is there adequate research to address the gender gap in medical studies? In the latest development, a new study has discovered the presence of mRNA from COVID vaccines. What is mRNA? It stands for messenger ribonucleic acid, and it is a single-stranded molecule that carries the instructions to make proteins. It has a fundamental and essential role that makes our bodies function. So an mRNA vaccine tricks the body into producing some of the viral proteins itself. They work by using this mRNA, which is a molecule that essentially puts DNA instructions into action. That's how the vaccine works. Now, a new study has found that in the breast milk of breastfeeding mothers for up to 45 hours after receiving this vaccine, mRNA is still present. The study has been published in the journal Lancet. 70% of the breast milk samples analyzed in the study were found to contain mRNA from the vaccines. Although the detected amount was largely fragmented, it retained 12% to 25% of its original integrity. The researchers suggest that more studies needed to determine the minimum amount of mRNA that could potentially trigger an immune response in newborn babies. The samples were collected from 13 healthy postpartum women, both before and after vaccination. In total, there were 20 vaccine exposures and 154 breast milk samples considered. Now, full disclosure, the 13 lactating women had received either the Moderna or Pfizer vaccine. What the study found was trace amounts of mRNA were present in 10 to 20 exposures up to 45 hours after vaccination. The study noted that the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein was not expressed. All participating women tested negative for COVID before the collection of milk samples. The samples collected before vaccination tested negative. Now, this finding is significant in its scope, extending beyond mRNA COVID vaccines. The study offers valuable insights into the transport and presence of vaccine mRNA in breast milk, which can be relevant for assessing the safety and efficacy of future therapies which are given to pregnant women and lactating women in particular. It is important to note that in 2021, studies showed that no traces of mRNA vaccines ended up in mothers' breast milk. At the time, it was suggested that such vaccines are safe during lactation, and lactating women were encouraged to take them without stopping breastfeeding. However, when the vaccines became available, changes in women's menstrual cycles were reported. While most women showed no evidence of menstrual alteration, some indicated either an increase or a delayed cycle. A Saudi Arabian study evaluated the impact of COVID-19 vaccines on all aspects of the menstrual cycle, including cycle length, amount of bleeding and pain. The study included a total of 673 women. 46% of them reported changes in their cycle after both COVID-19 vaccine doses. This study was conducted from May to September last year, and the report concluded by promoting the COVID-19 vaccine, stating that there is no statistically significant association between the vaccine and the many issues that the women in the study faced. However, this raises important questions. Were there temporary issues factored into research? Did we know beforehand what effects these vaccines might have on women's health? Because when you experience late periods, abnormal bleeding or increased pain, it can cause panic and anxiety. If these effects had been discussed earlier, women might have been better prepared to handle them.
So as you can see, family, there are elements of wickedness and principalities that are there to fight and to do battle and to destroy. And we can't be very nonchalant, ignorant to these facts. For these are things that are there, and these things are there to make sure we do not win our battle. So, are we going to be ignorant, or are we going to be of a wise and thoughtful mindset? For We brought nothing in this world, and certainly we take nothing with us. So, the time has come, family. The time has come, Israel, to be what we were always born to be. Righteous, upright, and also, most of all, the children of the Most High living God, which is in Christ, our Savior. So, let us now pinpoint one more of these enemies. And these enemies are what we know today to be Nephilim, the sons of the fallen angels.
And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown.
So, family, seeing as all we know have highlighted these malignant root, the enemies that you can't see, nor touch, nor smell, but they are there. And this is a time that we are in the last days. And it's high time for us to wake out of sleep. For the Father did not give us the spirit of fear, but of power and of sound mind. So, family, this concludes this lesson, and we still haven't really touched or scratched the surface fully. But this is just to give us an indication and to highlight these malignant root. So until I see you again, may the Most High bless you and keep you in all that you do. Shalom.